Yo, BJ Gaddour with the Daily BJ, and today we're talking push-up progressions, and it's really important anytime I teach a movement or break it down, to break it down into its key components in terms of the way you would do an actual repetition. So you've got an isometric emphasis, which means can you hold certain key positions for time and get your joints in the proper position. That's kind of a foundation to lay before you start adding dynamic movement. Can you hold it statically first? Then you look at, can you properly lower or eccentrically perform the exercise or build up eccentric strength to allow you to properly do the entire movement altogether. So in the case of the push-up is, can you first lower under control with good positioning? If you can't do that, you won't be able to push up with proper form position, right? So that's the next thing we look at. Then we look at concentrically, which means can you do the full range rep, the hardest portion, which is actually in the terms of the push-up, pushing up the lifting component, where you are weakest. So let's first talk isos. We talked in a previous video about perfect push-up pointers, getting into kind of hollow body shape with the feet and legs blocked and squeezed together, abs crunched, glutes tight, thighs tense, ribs, shoulders down, and shoulder blades protracted, pushed away. That's the ideal position. Let me just recap what that looks like. So I'm going to screw my hands into the floor, lock my feet together, head in line with the spine, and you actually notice a slight rounding in the upper back. That is perfect plank top of push-up position, all right? You actually want that protraction for shoulder health and full development of the rib cage muscles, your serratus anterior muscles, all right? So can you hold that for 1 to 2 minutes? That's a great entry-level tester to build you up, because if you can do that, then you've got the stability, especially through the core and spine, to hold it properly and maintain a straight line from head through heels. One thing I like to say too is, can you do a breathing push-up? Breathing through the belly, not the chest or neck, for 5 to 10 full breaths, inhaling through the nose, pausing, exhaling through the mouth. That also shows that you can own the movement with good, proper breathing mechanics without panicking or holding your breath. So, all right, another great example. You can actually work that even in to your recovery routine. It actually helps you go more parasympathetic, rest and recover, versus sympathetic, fight or flight, towards an end of a workout or in a recovery day. So we just talked about holding the top position for at least 1 to 2 minutes. You also want to be able to hold the bottom position for at least 30 to 60 seconds. That tells you have the strength and stability and control in the bottom, most difficult portion of the exercise. Once you have that, as I like to say, once you can own the top and the bottom, you can own everything else in between. So in that case, same concepts apply. We get into our push-up position, we lower, elbows tight to the sides, and can I just hold that? And while I'm down here too, I'm not just passively holding, I'm trying to create tension all around and underneath the shoulders. I'm screwing my hands into the floor, I'm clenching my glutes, and I'm just hovering the chest right above the ground. And not only does that stretch the chest, it strengthens it. So these isometric positions are key. One thing that people overlook as well is, can you hold the middle of a push-up? That tends to be a very weak position. People can push up halfway and they can't lock out. So even looking at certain sticking points of the exercise, so can I just hold maybe that halfway position right there and be perfectly positioned? Again, that would be another 30 to 60 second type one, because that's more challenging than holding the top. By the way, if you can't hold any of these on the floor, you back off by elevating your hands on a stable box, bench, chair, ottoman, rail. You can put a barbell and a power rack, a Smith machine at whatever height you want to adjust. I love the aerobic steps with risers because they allow us to increase or decrease the height, adjusting the risers to make it easier or harder as needed, or progressively get to the floor. So that's isometric. Eccentric. Now this is the classic way to build up to doing a full push-up. So you can make one day isometric emphasis, the next day could be eccentric emphasis. And what we're going to do here is, we're going to take 5 seconds to just do the lowering portion of the exercise, come to the knees, walk back up, and repeat. So building that eccentric, slow strength. This will, because we are slowly stretching the muscles under load, create a little more muscle damage. So do only a couple sets of these in the beginning, because you're going to get very sore and it's tough to recover from, and then gradually build up to doing 5 sets of these. So start with like 2 to 3 sets of 5 total reps, and then build up to ideally 5 sets of 10 reps with these 5-second lowerings. Once you can do that, you'll definitely be able to do a perfect full range of motion push-up. So I get in, and then there's no break in the chain, right? The body's one unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep driving those elbows in. Come down. Go back to the knees. Walk back up. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back up. Repeat. Another way you can progress those, by the way, you can keep it at 5 reps, and then each time you repeat it, do 6-second lowerings. 7, 8, 9, 10. You can build it up that way. One of my favorite ways to test overall upper body and core strength is lowering down for 30 seconds and then coming back up for 30 seconds. Or like ideally, you should be able to take from the top 1 minute to slowly come to the bottom. That's a great test of your eccentric strength, an indicator of if you can do action push-ups in the first place. So great options to work in. You can set a clock. It's a great kind of finisher or challenge. The other option now, we look at hands elevated push-ups. So if we can't do one push-up or we can only do a couple, how can we do higher reps to build the work capacity, the endurance, and the general strength to do more on the floor? And again, it comes back to taking the ego out of the equation and elevating your hands on a stable box or bench. Go as high as you have to elevate to do this right. I'll show the on the knee version. The reason I don't show that one first is because you do lose some core engagement when you do it off the knees. So you will be able to still challenge the chest, shoulder muscles, and triceps, but not the core as much. And again, because the push-ups perform like this, we want to bring the core into it. It'll translate better to improve performance. But otherwise, again, it's just elevating, being okay with that, and ideally elevate it to the point where you can do at least 8 to 12 reps or more to build up. And it's just a great kind of what's called hypertrophy range, all right, or muscle building range, where you're building up the muscles that the exercise that are important to perform the exercise properly. And then what I could do is, from week to week, there are 6 risers here. I go from 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1 to just the box, and then to the floor. And now progressively build up to doing perfect push-ups on the floor. But again, micro progressions, just milking the movement, doing it right from the start, and building up capacity. By the way, I still do hands elevated push-ups because that angle targets the lower chest more, and if I want to do higher reps or a burnout set at the end or a warm-up, no matter how advanced you are, hands elevated push-ups have their place. So obviously there's the body angle progression we talked about, and it's also nice with a barbell or a Smith machine because you can gradually lower that bar to the floor to make it harder. The other option is off the knees. Now, again, the problem with this is, right, most people when they do this, they get like this. So they kind of hike their hips back and they lose the core engagement altogether. So if you do go off the knees, still try to maintain some semblance of hollow body positioning where the feet and legs are squeezed together, the ribs and shoulders are down, the glutes are clenched, and the abs are crunched tight. So I'm like this. You need to kind of keep the feet down if you need the help with that. Make sure to really squeeze the glutes, maintain that position, and that can be, I guess, used when needed. But again, don't lose that total body tension situation we talked about. It is the least preferred option. If you do it, just do it right and try to maintain tension through the middle. And then the final option, you can assist it with bands, 2 ways. One is you can loop a band vertically on a power rack or any stable support structure. You then take the other side of the band and put it around your hips, get into a push-up position. I can't show it in my home, but that will actually allow you to, as you go down into the more challenging portion of the push-up, it actually assists you back up. In a similar way that attaching a band to a pull-up bar and putting your knees or feet through helps assist you from the bottom up. So that's one option. Another option is either taking a mini band or what's called Mark Bell's slingshot. And let me just show this one. I do the same thing. I would attach it just above the elbows. Bigger, stronger guys benefit from using this one more. It just allows me to assist out of the bottom of the push-up so I can do higher reps. Also helps get my elbows in tighter to my body to protect the shoulders and really lock in good mechanics and motor control. So this is a great option for warm-ups, higher reps, or just building up to doing more push-ups off the floor. So you've got a lot of options to look at. Those are the key push-up progressions. The push-up is often overlooked because it's so simple. You don't need a lot of equipment. But if you do it right, there is simply no better exercise to develop the upper body and the core, and it will build strength and capacity in almost every other aspect of your fitness. So do it right, use these progressions, and you'll be a push-up machine in no time. Peace.